Well, we never expected that God would call us into ministry together. Um, we had been, since 2003, going in different directions in our ministry, and my involvement had been with difficult men in prison and in a prison mission work context. And Cindy's context had been early childhood ministry and working with both children and parents and college students who were coming on to learn how to teach children in a church setting. And our ministries just took us different directions. And about a decade ago, God started working on my ministry context and started shaking some things up. It had been rocky, and then it got really bad, and then it became unbearable. And Cindy watched me going through this, and we had the opportunity to go to a workshop, to a weekend conference that was led by Randy Willingham, and learn how to process these difficulties that people in ministry go through. I mean, one of the big problems is, who are you supposed to talk to as the minister? Because all too often, if you talk to your peers or your friends in church, then something like a rumor can very easily get started, and then that gets back to leadership, and leadership often does not want to have problems in the congregation, especially among those that are leading in ministry. And so we didn't feel like we could talk to anybody, that there was nobody safe to talk to about what we felt like was going on spiritually in the treatment that I was receiving. And being able to unpack that at that retreat was massive for us. And so later, about 2.5 years ago, when it became obvious that my time in prison mission work was going to be wound down because of budget-related things, to COVID and problems with the congregation that I was sponsored out of having, we started wondering independently, what are we supposed to do next? Then the COVID problems started to hit her early childhood ministry, which had been around for 40 years or more, and the church just decided that it was unsustainable and not a priority ministry as it had once been. And so we found ourselves independently asking, what on earth are we supposed to do? And the answer was, go to this workshop again. You need to be at this workshop again. You need to process more of these feelings. And so we went back to Randy and asked him about that, and he said, I'm not doing that anymore, but I can train you how to. And so we leaned into that training and into the work of learning how to facilitate couples from various geographical areas and various congregational backgrounds, and the problems or the successes that they had or were having, the challenges that they were in or had overcome or didn't know were coming, and able to learn how to process and help others process through those feelings. And in conducting those workshops, conducting those retreats, we found additional healing for us, which just makes us more grateful that we can be healthier, more effective in the way that we think about each other, the way that we think about ministry, and the way that we think about marriage in the kingdom, and helping all couples with their marriages, but especially couples in the kingdom, and especially those who are in a leadership position where sometimes it's just not safe to talk. So God put the vision on us to go ahead and find a place where when we bring a couple in, they're not at a off-season hunting lodge where the rooms are, let's be clear, they're not made for her, and they're not romantic, and not a off-season youth camp where you lay down with your wife after processing all these emotional feelings, and you've got things stirred up inside you, and you lay down on 2 twin beds that are pushed together, and you've got a 2x12 between you, and you look up above you and it says Cassandra was here. And not that. God told us you need to have a place that sustains and amplifies the emotion that is being processed and released, so that when these couples go back to their private space, that they are free to engage in the kind of conversations that a carefully curated and romantic space encourage. And for this calling, he led us to James Shildroth. James Shildroth is a Frank Lloyd Wright trained architect. He's older, and he's in Maine, and he's looking at the property, and he's looking at the property that God has called us to close on in order to build this place. And he's designing specifically for this property these spaces and these views and the ability to sustain the emotional healing that comes about in a type of retreat where you're free, finally free to talk about what's going on, and to know that this is a confidential space. We've never had a problem. In fact, in the history of this retreat, going all the way back to its inception with Francis Schaeffer back in the 1950s, we've never had a problem with somebody breaking confidentiality. We're proud of that. And so this is a space that is designed to sustain and amplify the feelings and the emotions and the closeness that comes when, as a couple, you're sharing with other couples the struggles that you've been through. We need funding to pull this off, and we have been blown away. We put the word out to about 300 of our friends, and so far about 6% of them have responded. We've got another 2 weeks to close everything out. So far about 6% have responded, and we have moved more than halfway in 2 weeks by God's grace and by the generosity of believers, from no money in the account to just over half of our $150,000 goal. And that's just to buy the land and to get the basic initial insurance and structure in place where we can carry out the workshops and build out this property according to Mr. Shildroth's designs. So I want to encourage you, if you believe that marriage matters, if you believe that God created man and wife, that he created us to complete each other and to be one, and to be aligned, to be energized by each other's presence, to do good and to just love each other more completely. If you believe in that kind of image of marriage, where the husband is like Christ is to the church, and the wife is like the church is supposed to be towards Christ, if you believe in that kind of marriage that draws families closer together, that draws churches closer together, that draws communities closer together, that make us a better people, and you want to see that flourish in the kingdom, please comment below, reach out, like, share, whatever you need to do, but let us know that this is of value, that you value it. And if you want to help, we want to help you learn how to do that. Just get in touch with us through the comments, and we'll be happy to show you through CharityVest how you can find and donate and participate in this great work that God is doing called Christ on the River. We look forward to visiting with you again soon. I'll be posting more. I apologize for this being as long as it has been, but it's important that you know that there is work going on that is Spirit-led to help couples be stronger together so that we can raise better expectations, so that we can raise stronger, faithful children, so that we can raise each other up. We can rise up as a people and do good like our Lord has done good for us. It starts with marriage. And I know that it starts with marriage because the first place that the devil attacked humanity was the marriage. And he sought to split the husband and wife. And we want your help in restoring the temple of marriage in our day and age. Won't you help?